name's Rhys Thomas. I'm 38. I work as an anaesthetist. I'm married to Bronwyn and got 3 kids. I grew up in a Christian family, but I didn't really take it seriously or take it fully on board as a kid. As a teenager, I guess got a bit bored with it and moved away from it, kind of started doing my own thing, went off the rails a little bit. But then, in year 12, I realised that the path that I was heading down wasn't a particularly good one, and that, if God existed as my understanding of God, then this wasn't a good way to be going. So I thought things need to change here, and by that point I was going to a Christian school, and some of my friends went along to a church not too far from where I lived, so I started going along to youth group with them, and from there it kind of just developed again that this does seem to be real and I need to take this seriously. And so it was in year 12 at an ISCF camp that I committed my life to Christ, and then when I went to university and I got involved with the Christian group there, that was when I really kind of realised this is there's definitely something to this, and looked into it a lot more deeply and really took it on board and let it affect the way that I lived, and then met my wife at university. I got married, moved to Newcastle after finishing medicine and working for a few years in Sydney, and then completed my training in anaesthetics in 2013, the beginning of 2013, and things were looking pretty good then. We had 3 lovely kids. I was working a full-time job. We were going to church and enjoying life, and I thought I had a pretty good understanding of what God's plan was for my life at that point. But then, completely out of the blue, later that year, so less than a year after I'd finished my training, I was diagnosed with advanced melanoma. So I ended up at John Hunter Hospital emergency department for a relatively minor complaint, and then as they started investigating, that became quickly apparent that it was much more serious, and then it unfolded that I had melanoma in my brain, my lungs and in my abdomen, and basically given less than 6 months to live. So this was a massive shock to me and my family. We started preparing for what we expected to be my passing away, and preparing for that. So it was certainly a big emotional shock and psychological shock, and certainly as my health deteriorated in those first few months, and I really started feeling sick. I lost a lot of weight. I couldn't keep any food down, and I really did struggle with. I was quite anxious and depressed, not sleeping well, and there are a lot of thoughts circling around in my head about how this was fitting in with God's plan. But again, it was the thing that I kept coming back to at that point was, the life of Jesus. Did he exist? Was he who he said he was? Did he die? Did he rise again? And so I spent a bit of time looking into those sides of things, like the arguments kind of for that sort of stuff. And so certainly that did provide the bedrock or the anchor for my faith at that point. But it didn't necessarily make the suffering side of things any easier. It was still pretty tough going there, and certainly seeing my family going through that as well was quite challenging. There was a period there where I was feeling really crook. I'd lost about 25 kilos. I couldn't keep any food down, I was kind of ready to die. I kind of prepared myself for that. But then subsequent to that, I ended up on a clinical trial of some new drugs, and the early results were promising in that the tumours were shrinking, but that was at the time that my symptoms were the worst. So even at that point I felt as though, I'm still going to die, but this is just going to be drawn out for longer than I'd expected, and that wasn't entirely pleasant either. But then just gradually over time my symptoms started improving, my energy levels improved, I was able to put the weight back on, And then, it kind of got to the point where I was functioning reasonably well, and I started looking into what was required to get back to work. And so, yes, here I am now, just over 3 years since the diagnosis. So, over that period, I then, was then started to think, well, okay, well, maybe my death's not quite as imminent as I thought it was going to be. But I knew that I certainly wasn't out of the woods and that it could return at any time. All these drugs are very new, so they don't really know the long-term prognosis. So it kind of made me realise that, well, yes, while everyone's time on this earth is limited, mine's probably limited more than most others, or I was certainly acutely aware of the fact that I didn't really know how long I had left. So it certainly changed my priorities as to what I should be putting my time and effort and energies and money into. So in chatting with my wife and people at church, starting to think about how I should now be spending my time. I've become much more involved in ministry at church over that time, and I think in particular it's made me realise, going through that whole process on the background of what I'd already learnt as a Christian, I was acutely aware of the importance of telling other people about Jesus and what he's done. I was convinced that it was true. And I think, it's a very important life-saving and life-changing message. So I certainly had come to realise that it was important. And then I think what my experience recently really emphasised for me, that not only is it important, but it's urgent, both in terms of the limited time that I had left, to tell other people about it or share my experience and what Jesus had done for me, but also in terms of the urgency for the other people that hadn't heard the message yet or hadn't yet come to accept it. So having that combination of an important message and an urgent message has really kind of changed my thought processes around how I should be spending my time and my priorities in terms of spending time with the kids and my wife and doing church stuff.